Good morning, everyone, and a happy Saturday morning. Thank you so much for coming back to Access Machinery YouTube channel, and it is our Saturday morning live stream. Welcome. I'm Irina Solovyanenko, and I'm a managing partner at Access Machinery. I have here today with me these two handsome gentlemen. One of them is you are familiar already. It's Andrew Vicente, our application specialist. And today we are shooting our episode at the town of Salford, which is located in Ontario. And the company that is we are shooting at is named exactly after the same town. It is a Salford Group, and we have today here with us President and CEO of a Salford Group, Mr. Jeff Gray. Welcome. Thank you so much. Salford Group is the agriculture equipment manufacturer, and company has been around over 40 years. I would like to mention that agriculture industry is one of the most essential industries, and we are very proud that here in Canada, the country known for its agriculture potential, we have our own manufacturer of equipment. Mr. Gray?
Yes. Salford Group, we've been around, as I mentioned, 42 years now, and completely vertically integrated manufacturing operation. We design our own equipment, we market our own equipment, manufacture right from raw steel. We have 6 manufacturing plants now around the world and ship all over the world. We even have a plant in Russia feeding the Russian Federation, and most of the equipment is actually built. We have our biggest operations at our head office here in Ontario, and producing our tillage, where we're actually physically working the soil, and that tends to be heavier equipment, so we need to be our heavier gauge fabrication equipment. And then we also do a lot of fertilizer spreading, and that's where we get into a lot of thinner gauge stainless steels, and we're using a lot of the bigger panels and the laser equipment for the big fertilizer spreading equipment.
That is right. Thank you for a brief introduction, and the topic of our today's episode will be introduction of the CNC hydraulic press brake that you can see behind me. As I mentioned before, Access Machinery is the metal fabricating equipment dealer, and we are introducing exclusively in Canada durma. Durma is a Turkish manufacturer of metal fabricating equipment based in Durma, and also been in business over 60 years, right? So again, Salford Group is using the equipment for their own needs, manufacturing their own product, and we would like to show you today exactly what Salford Group is about and what their products are. We know that there's a nice presentation, interesting, so let's watch it.
Take a look.
Salford Group is a global manufacturer of agricultural equipment, employing nearly 500 people with locations in Canada, the United States, and Russia. Salford engineers, manufactures, and markets high-quality, durable farm equipment with a performance advantage. The machinery is designed for all types and sizes of crop production farming operations, but we strive to produce equipment that helps large-scale farming operations work faster and more efficiently. Salford does this by designing equipment that can cover more acres per hour, having large working widths in the field, and also by being durable enough to be operated at high speeds through adverse conditions. Agricultural crop production technology is rapidly advancing to meet the nutritional needs of a growing global population. At the same time, farmers are striving to take better care of their land. To meet these demands, Salford engineers products to be at the cutting edge of crop production technology. especially when it comes to broad acre fertilizer application. Salford fertilizer applicators are able to work with soil sampling data to control how much fertilizer is applied to each area of the field, ensuring that enough fertilizer is applied to help the plants reach their maximum potential, but not so much fertilizer that it's a danger to the environment. This technology also saves farmers money by helping them apply the correct amount of crop inputs. Technology like section control fertilizer application is another way in which Salford fertilizer applicators help farmers save money and protect the land around them. Sections of the fertilizer applicator can be turned on and off when they are around parts of the field that already have fertilizer on them or areas that should not have fertilizer applied. This also saves the farmers money and helps protect environmentally sensitive areas. Salford is also working with other industry-leading partners to share these technological advancements and take them further by working on applying fertilizer at stages in the plant's life cycle when it's most needed. This is another practice that reduces the amount of chemical inputs required, while at the same time boosting the plant's productivity, saving money, and benefiting the environment. Farmers in North America and around the world are being challenged by urban sprawl. Salford's next generation of equipment is being designed to transport in new ways that make the equipment safer for farmers and their neighbors around them.
Okay, thank you. I hope you enjoyed that video. You see from that we do build a lot of different machinery, and that's coming in a lot of different plants for us. Now with that we need very good equipment. To sell our equipment that needs to have a performance advantage, very durable, faster than our competitors, and to do that we also need very fast and durable fabrication equipment. So now Durma has become our go-to supplier of fabrication equipment. We've got right now currently 4 Durma presses in our plants with 2 more on order. We've got a Durma plasma table with 1 more on order, and we also have on order a fiber optic laser table with a tube option. That's coming as well. We're looking forward to that to, again, help improve our efficiency, help us get our equipment to the field faster so the farmers can use it faster, and it's fully integrated with our R&D so we can move very quickly. We've got to have good equipment and great partnerships. Access Machine has been a great partnership working with, making sure our equipment's running, making sure it does what they say it will do, and we can get our equipment out accurate and on time and hit our cost targets. So thank you for that.
And thank you so much for the trust you put in us, and we will continue to support and provide the best service possible.
Excellent.
To make sure that all equipment is up and running and outstanding. Andrew,
yes.
Can you give us please a brief presentation on the machine behind us and tell us why exactly this specific model was chosen?
Absolutely. So as Jeff said earlier, of course, the agriculture industry, you probably know very well. We got large parts, we got thick gauge parts because farm equipment needs to be tough, durable, strong, and last a very long time. So this brake specific was chosen because this is the 80S37220, which means it's a hydraulic machine, 3.7 meters or 144 inches with 220 metric tons or 242 US tons, which is more than enough to bend the parts they're bending here. You probably notice this little piece of equipment sitting beside here. We also have a sheet follower. Sheet followers are great for such heavy parts that Salford is constantly producing here. And you're gonna see some shortly about how useful this is to make sure that you can use it with 1 operator instead of having to constantly tie up 2 operators, and not just even just the 2 operators, but also their backs. And an uncomfortable employee doesn't work as fast as and well as a comfortable employee, of course. I mean, so they're going to have to take more breaks, but with this kind of system here, we can bend quicker, more accurately, and have a lot less strain on our employees, so everybody's happier. Everybody's benefiting from this kind of system here. So again, with the long bed length, Salford actually uses the entire bed length because you're going to see a part here in a moment that's actually a piece of a fertilizer hopper, and these are very large panels, so that we need the full bed length, we need the tonnage to get the full bed length, and we need the CNC crowning system here to make sure that everything stays straight. On top of that, even more so, we have a 4-axis back gauge, so despite even the parts are on the angle or anything like that, we can gauge these parts no problem. So let's take a look at this first part we have right over here. It's a very large part. I'd bring it on to show you, but it weighs a lot, and that's why we have the sheet followers. Let's take a look.
Let's take a look.
Equipped with the Delum DA66T control, we got some 3D simulation here. So I can look at the bends beforehand before hauling this giant material over to the machine, just to verify which way the material should be oriented and what kind of bends am I looking at here. It also verifies the tooling is going to fit well. Sheet followers can park to the side when you don't need them, but when you do need them, it's as simple as sliding them around to the specified spot and locking them in. Your arms can be put into any configuration, far or close, depending on what you need. You can even use one finger. Once you lock them in, you're good to go. Huge range of motion here to be able to lift multiple angles well up to 90 degrees. I wasn't joking when I said this part was very heavy. We're actually going to crane this part over to the table here as it's so heavy. Again, single operator doing this. I'm by no means a very tough guy, and I have no problem bending this part in a moment. Stable back gauge here. Now you see as the ram comes down, this 100-pound part is no problem for me. Sheet followers bend together. I just have to support the material. Even as it comes down, it doesn't snap back down on me. Very comfortable to bend heavy parts such as this. On to the next bend. Same thing, no strain here. Bend the part. Sheet followers fall at a perfect angle. Support it the entire way through. Perfect bends here. They look great. You can see how straight that bend is. There's no waves or curves in this. The automatic CNC crowning system ensures that the part is perfectly straight across. All right, so you saw the fertilizer hopper part, so that was just one part. You saw how heavy that is, and I'm able to hold this myself with the whole strain. So you see me, I'm by no means super tough, but I'm able to handle this part with a single operator motion here because I can follow with the sheet follower, and that's the great part about that. Of course, with the tonnage too, this part is stainless steel. It is around, it's actually an 11 gauge part or 12 gauge more on the side of 12 gauge part.
Right.
So that part's easily 100 pounds and requires not only a lot of tonnage, but a lot of support on the weights. And despite the long, almost entire bed length bed, you saw how straight that bend was. The CNC crowning system mixed with the accuracy of a hydraulic system is able to produce a part such as that, and that's why Salford chose a machine such as this. So, what do you think about the quality of these parts, Jeff?
Oh, they're beautiful. It's much nicer. You get consistency coming out here. Don't have changeover time, and I don't hear the complaints from the guys. I just love it.
That's perfect.
Cranking the parts out.
That's excellent. So we have a good production environment here. That's another point as well, too, is that on a machine such as this, they share some of the tooling quite a bit on a lot of these parts. So without a tool change, they're actually able to change over programs really quickly because as you saw on the interface, I can switch between different programs very quickly. It moves to the new back gauge position. There's no mucking with back gauge or anything like that. Everything's very accurate. So I can just go to the next part, continue bending all day on this machine. No problem, no strain because the sheet follower's here. So everything is great. All right, so we got another part for the fertilizer hopper as well. And you're going to take a look at an even more complicated part, and you're going to see how deep the back gauge needs to be for this specific part. So let's take a look. On the Delum control interface, as I mentioned earlier, I change over programs simply. I'm able to take a look at this part. This part actually requires a rotation, so it's good to check the bend before so I know which way to crane this giant part on before I spend time hauling the part over, realizing it's the wrong direction and having to flip it around. So it's nice to be able to see beforehand what the orientation should be through a 3D simulation interface. Got a 4-axis back gauge with a lot of throat depth here. Depending on the model you choose, the depth is different on the throat and the back, so refer to the technical manual. Again, this part is even heavier than the last, even larger than the last, but we're going to have no problem bending it myself using the sheet following system. The sheet followers can hold approximately, or no, they hold 300 kilograms, which is approximately 660 pounds. Individually, they hold 150 kilos each. So no problem for thick materials. As you may or may not know, this machine could bend up to 1 inch, depending on your V size. And 1-inch parts get up in weight very quickly. Again, suitable for a system such as this. Start off with a 45-degree angle, but despite that, we're still able to use the sheet followers to assist us with this bend here. Nice and easy, relaxed, coming down. No strain on me. Continuing to the next bend here. I could do this all day, no problem. Nice channeled bend there. Again, we got another C angle here, perfectly straight. And that bend is not inaccurate, it is actually supposed to be on an angle. Because of the back gauge accuracy, we have no problem getting it on that perfect angle there. All right, another part successfully made, and I could probably do this all day with these parts right here because I have a lot of assistance on that. So that's why on this machine, as I said earlier, this is why Salford chose this machine specifically with these features, well-featured machine to be able to support these kind of parts. And these are volume parts for them. These are not one-offs. These are their main product. As you saw in their video, the fertilizer hopper is main and very competitive product for them, so they needed the advantage that Access Machinery and Durma could give them.
That's right. Thank you so much, Andrew, for the parts and the showcases. You mentioned about the back gauge.
Sure.
Can you tell how important on the press brake is the back gauge system? How it can facilitate operations or it can slow down? So what is important, let's say, for the audience that is watching us, let's say they don't know about the back gauge system. Can you briefly to go over Durma?
Absolutely. So I would argue that the back gauge is more important than the ram itself. And I know that sounds crazy and maybe a loaded statement, but why I say that is because picture this. Picture a back gauge that could only go back and forth, okay? Think about how many parts you can actually back gauge against that properly without jigging, adding pieces to it, moving it back and forth to try to figure out how you're going to position it, again, making jigs on the fingers, attaching things to the fingers. So that's all wasted time. Your ram can be as fast as you want, but with a back gauge that can't support multiple axes or gauge on different spots, you're going to have a lot of trouble with that kind of setup. So I always say that back gauge axes are super, super important for your parts. So it's not something to forget. It's not all about tonnage. Back gauge is super important, and that's why I find the most importance on that back gauge.
That's right. And on ADS series, that this particular model is, we have back gauge system from 3 axes, and we can equip a brake up to 8 axes, again depending on the needs and the application and goals for the manufacturing.
That's right.
All right, I think we briefly went over the showcases, and we are ready for the questions.
All right, question time.
Do we have any questions today?
We got plenty.
Yeah, we do.
We got plenty.
We
okay.
do.
First one.
Can we get hydraulic tool holder on those models? The question from Pat Deu. Hydraulic tool holder, yes, absolutely, it is possible. On ADS series, we have 2 options. We have either hydraulic tool holder, as you see behind me, or we can have oh, no, that one is manual.
These are,
but yes,
these are manual tool holders.
That's right. Next question, what max tonnage we can get on those machines? We can build an ADS series anywhere from 60 tons and up to 2,000 tons. And we can also put machines in the tandem configuration, treat them, and again, imagination is a limit.
That's a lot of tonnage.
It's a lot of tonnage, yes.
Perfect.
Where Durma is located? Durma is located in Bursa, in Turkey, a country with a very profound history and culture. Everybody welcome to visit when time is right. Next question is from Irvin. Can we use European and American tooling with this model? How we can clamp them? Do you have different solutions? Definitely we have options on tooling. It's up to the customer to decide which tooling works better for them. We have a universal clamping system where you can use both European or American tooling, or if you would prefer, we can build a press brake only suited for the European tooling or only for American. So we have a flexibility here. Andrew, maybe you would like to take this one.
I would, absolutely. Good question from Irvin there. So what is the sheet follower's carriage capacity? We talked about that a bit earlier, but I'll say it again. Each one is 150 kg, okay, or about 320 pounds, okay? And together they do 300 kg and about 660 pounds. So no matter what you're going to put on this machine, no problem there, because these will lift it, no problem, despite how heavy it is. And again, we got a lot of length here, so even if it's a wide part, no problem there either. As far as more support arms, yes, we can get into custom solutions. I mean, we have the linear rail here, so if we needed to slide more arms on it, we could. Usually they're static supports, but depending on the size of the machine, you could add more supports, absolutely, especially when you get into the tandem stuff, we're going to need even more arms to support. But that gets into really large solutions, and we'd love to show you that equipment if that's your requirement.
And as always recommended, it is the best to contact us directly for the consultation. You can send us the request at info@accessmachinery.ca, and we will be glad to help you to find the proper solution. What would be the thickest material possible to bend on the 220 tons brake?
That's a good question. I always say, depending on your V size, and I don't mean this thing can bend 3 inches. What I'm saying is that you could go up to 1 inch. You can even go to 1.25 inches if you want to. But depending on your V size and the length of the part is where your limitation is going to be. On a 220 machine, you can comfortably bend 1/2 inch, easily half the bed. You could do 3/4 in the middle of the bed. 1 inch is fine as well. You could do about 24 inches of 1 inch before you're really starting to push the limits here. So depending what you're bending and depending how wide you don't mind your V size, you can bend about 1 inch, 1.25 inches, depending, again, many factors here. And I can help you with those technical details if that's your requirement as well.
Thank you, Andrea. What is the thickness we answered? It's
Yes.
pretty much the same. Can we use other brand tools on those machines? Yes, absolutely. You can use any brand for the tooling as you wish. Just make sure that you presented your drawings prior to purchasing tooling, because we all know that tooling may be easily half of the price of the machine, so it's another investment. Be careful on that. Thank you so much, Kemal. Next question is from Irvin. Do you have with this model angle measurement system? That's excellent question. Thank you so much, Irvin. Andrew, would you like to talk about what is actually angle management?
Oh, I'd love to talk about it, you know that. So the angle measurement system, yeah, this machine can be equipped, most of our machines can be equipped with it, minus the smaller models because it's not necessary. Essentially what it's called DAM, Durma Angle Measurement System. And what it does is that you have 2 systems with lasers that contact each other and they measure the spring back of the part. So when you bend a part, you'll get this thing called spring back. And what happens there is that sometimes you might get the incorrect angle or slightly wrong depending on each coil. So you might be able to correct for one coil, but when you go to the next coil, the bends might be slightly off. So what the DAM does is that it laser measures it. So after it bends it and comes down and gets that nice V, it actually lets go for a second, measures if it's still 90. If it's not 90, it'll come back and finish it off again, and you'll get a perfect angle across the bed every time, because it'll actually measure 3 positions or more across your entire bed length, working with the crowning system back up to the hydraulic servo system, or not servo system, hydraulic system in this case, and give that feedback back to the system, and you'll always get a perfect angle despite what the heat is of the system or anything like that. We've even played with thicknesses before. I wanted to push that limit to this system to the limit, and what we've done was we actually took purposely about 15th thou under thickness, and it was able to correct for that. And that's not even the intended purpose of the equipment, but it had no problem handling that kind of difference. So good question.
Good question, thank you again. We have next question from Perico Sapiens. Before we answer that question, I remember this viewer, you won several episodes before the prize, so please contact us after the episode. It still awaits.
That's right.
For you.
Good point, good memory.
Yes, I remember. Can you that the episode was on the laser, that I remember too. Can you retrofit a sheet follower on an existing machine? No, not exactly.
If you look over to the side behind the arena, you'll see that there's an extra addition to the machine that is required.
Right there.
It would not be wise to have to add all that because, as you can see, it's part of the monoblock frame. And being monoblock frame machines, we don't want to weld anything onto it to add something because the monoblock is what gives the machine its rigidity. So it's not assisted. We have to know that from the factory so we can build you the proper machine and not retrofit something incorrectly.
Andrew, you probably should mention that that's also where they park, so they're out of your way.
Correct. That's exactly where they park. You notice how we're standing between here because we're distancing right now, but otherwise, yes, they park to the side there on the side of that frame. So it's super important that we know beforehand if you want sheet followers. Otherwise, we cannot retrofit them in good faith.
Sorry about that. But on a good side, there's always a good time to purchase new machine with the all right features on it.
That's right. Yes, that's right.
Okay, one more question. Do you have hybrid press brakes, and what is the max tonnage and size we can get you if you have? Yes, we do. We have hybrid press brakes. They're also called servo brakes. It's a combination of the using hydraulic oil and the servo motors. Those machines are available in a size from 60 tons, and Durma actually is unique because we make servo brakes up to 600 tons. No any other manufacturer of press brakes in the world can do that. We can. So if your application is suited for a servo brake, it will be a good point to contact us. One more question.
Lila Irwin always
Do
get a
you have
question.
barcode reader option available on this model? Yes, we do, with the person working next to the machine with the barcode.
That's right.
Reader.
So the barcode reader, so I've talked about D-bend and M-bend software today. Specifically, Salford doesn't use it here. They do it through the simulation on Delum, which works perfectly fine for them. But on D-bend and M-bend software, you essentially are able to program offline. I've talked about it before. And you get a barcode on the top, and you have a USB port on the side here. You can plug in, and you can scan that. And what it does is it brings up the program for you from D-bend, just simplifying the process. Otherwise, you can find the drawing yourself. So it just helps you maybe save a step on maybe a less experienced operator, but we can add a barcode to this system, yes, if it was necessary.
Yeah. All right, I think we answered all the questions. No more, as I see. I would like to go back a little bit to Salford and your customers, and your customers are farmers, and for farmers it's also very important to have their equipment on time because they're depending on the season. We are related on the season, right? So again, it's very important to have all equipment up and running. And we're very glad and we are honored to have Salford Group as our customer.
Oh,
and thank you so much for having us.
Well, thank you for having us on
at
here.
your facility and your
Thank you.
Saturday morning.
That's right. Thank you very much for having us. And if you just want to discuss like some of your customers, and maybe, I mean, I figure they're farmers, but maybe there's something I don't know, and you could tell everybody and tell myself as well that I don't know.
That's right. Yeah. I would like to give a little sneak peek for upcoming episodes. So we're going to take a break next week. We're going to take some time to prepare new interesting materials for you. So please stay tuned. Again, you can contact us at info@accessmachinery.ca. You can always visit our showroom. We are located in Vaughan, Ontario. The information can be found on our website, accessmachinery.ca again. Again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being with us. Come back with any questions, and let's go and enjoy the weekend.
All right, thank you very much for watching.
Thank you.